Looking at the instructions, this is the next method shown. Notice in the previous method, we backtracked around the hump or the plume or the outside of the feather. And with this next option, we'll backtrack along the feather edge, or what I call the inside of the feather. The diagram shows with the dark blue arrow that we stitch the plume from the outside around the hump and then along the feather edge or the inside to the spine. Then backstitch the feather edge back to the hump and reposition the template for the next plume. In this example, I'm not going to stitch the spine first, as in the previous feather. I'm going to stitch it after the stitching of the first line of plumes, so you can see just another alternative. So line this up as we did before, the center line being on the line that's going to be the spine, A, on my baseline of my fabric right there. Backtrack up to C. For the next plume, I just raise my template, line up again, center, and I don't have to measure, I don't have to check a 1/4 inch anywhere. Touch the marked line, go back to C. Back to C. Now, if I wanted a spine, I could just grab my template, lay it alongside, and measure my reference fabric, with my reference line on the fabric, and just check and see how these little feathers are all the way up the side, or how the plumes look. And I can now just stitch my spine, and come up the other side, making the other half of my feather. And you can there are places that my stitching did not actually touch the spine, actually just here and here, but that's close enough that I don't have a problem with that. I'm going to start with, A lined up with my needle, and I'll stitch one thing. Whoa! Yeah, I'm just going to set this machine so it doesn't stitch quite as fast. This is the finished feather. If you look closely, you can see that I don't match up every time, but I've got the spine here, so it doesn't look quite so bad. And we are our own worst critics. So I will come back and take a look at this tomorrow and see if I really can let it go. I think I can. The last example that we have in our instructions is to stitch one plume at a time with no backtracking. It looks like this. We have to do the traveling on the spine, so I'm just going to start out and stitch a nice little spine. I can use my spine template or the feather. And I can stitch this either one at a time or both at the same time. So it's your preference. I will show you both at the same time. So line up my template, and I'm going to stitch all the way back to the spine, and then just switch my template over here. And this is one time where the beginning plumes are not stitched differently from the rest. So all I have to do is just then backtrack up my spine, and then you get to decide how far apart you'd like to have them. I usually like to just have enough so that my template, I can just see the stitching right under the template there. And I'm lining up my center. And then just line up so that the template and my previous stitching are showing. And then backtrack up the spine. So this is the no backtrack feather. It has individual plumes, and you decide the spacing between the plumes. Mine are about 1/4 inch apart, and this then includes all of the examples included in the feathers instructions. There are many more variations in stitching feather designs. Most I've shown you have been stitched one row at a time, but you can stitch them out building your feather by alternating sides. So practice on some straight feathers, and next time we'll do some curved feathers. See you then. Well, I have a couple of empty areas on my fabric, so I thought I would just go ahead and make some heart feathers. So in the same space that's 3.5 inches wide with my spine in the center, I'm going to use my 4-inch template that I have marked the A's, B's, and C's, and I marked the center lines, but I don't really like that. So hang on. The lines that I mark on my template are never going to be as accurate as those that are etched into the back of the template. So I'm going to just take this off. I marked it with the Sharpie marker, Sharpie permanent marker, and I just can take it off as easily with, well, this is a piece of batting that was left over, and I have a little container of rubbing alcohol. So I have a container of rubbing alcohol that flips up. Just put the batting here. Dispenses the alcohol to the batting, and I can take off any of the marks I put on. That easy. I'll be doing right, left with no spine, but the only thing I'm changing is the center that I'm going to be using. So with all the feathers that I did before, so with all the feathers in the previous examples, I have been using this center line. But with my hearts, I'm going to use this center line. And you might want to play around with it because sometimes they look better even using a line that's further into the plume of the feather. So let's just give this a try. This is my 4-inch feather, and I'll be using the second line in, I think. Let me check my fabric. If I use the second line, the second center line, I can make a heart that's going to be 1/4 inch in, so that heart will just fit in the space that I have. So let's give it a try. And we can always make hearts smaller as we go up. So no spine. I'm going to start on the line of the spine, put my needle down on the spine, put it around so you can see. Okay. I'm lined up at the second center, and I'm just going to go around and stop when I hit the spine. Then slide the template over, line it up on the second center line. Now I'm going to go back up to C. And slide up my template. Stop on the spine. And I also have this space here that I can measure to make sure that both sides will look similar, and then go back up to C. Second center line and 1/4 inch from the previous plume. Back to C. Our heart feathers look like. Okay. Just continue. Oops. Wrong center line. This is where ruler stickers help. Let me show you that. Ruler stickers. So Steady has ruler stickers. They come with 3 colors to a package, and you get a bunch of ruler stickers. So now it shows me the center line where I need to line up. I need to backtrack one more stitch to get my template in the right spot. Since I'm getting to the top, let me just take a smaller size. That would be my 3-inch feather, and I'm going to have to backtrack a little further inside the feather. And I have one smaller feather. Let's try that. have some heart-shaped feathers. Let me show you a test that I stitched out. So this is my 5-inch feather, 4-inch, 3-inch, and 2-inch. I thought that makes kind of a cute little feather. Cute little heart feather. Okay. And for my last example, I'm going to do sort of a combination of separated feathers as well as this out and back idea. I haven't done these before, so this is an experiment. I'm going to start the way I have done previously. I'm going to line up my center on the first center line. Okay, so with this feather, this very alternate feather, I'm going to just stitch from A around to B and then back and stitch the other side, and then travel up what will become the spine and just make some partial feathers. And line this up. Do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so this is the same basic thing we did earlier, and now I'm just going to travel up the spine, probably okay. Again, I'm going to try it with the template right on top of my previous stitching. But my spine, but to get my spine lined up, okay, backtrack. Okay. Okay, running low on bobbin thread. Be right back. It was lovely for my machine to tell me that my bobbin was nearly empty, and that's all that was left, so the machine was correct. Okay, so I started back at the spine, and I'm lining up with the center line and the template at the edge of my previous stitching. And then I'm going to backtrack up the spine. I had to just go back one more stitch. It wasn't quite on the spine. Now I do. So I'm stitching up the spine. About the same amount as when I was doing the single feather plume. Okay, what if we added a little flourish? Okay, let's see what that looks like. I'm going to add kind of a smile to make it more of a spiral type. Can't quite get, oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to come off the template at about B and then do a little spiral free motion in the center. Okay, well, it didn't look exactly as I planned. Let's try it again. That's kind of interesting. Off the template. Off the template, backtrack. Oh, yeah. So I could either top stitch right on top or make it kind of a ribbon look. Okay, so this is an experiment. Let's just, okay. if I wanted to now, I could stitch back along the spine and take off here, and that might catch in anything there. Well, let's just take it off and see what that looks like. So that's pretty cute. Looks like little candy canes. And interesting. Try some experiments of your own and post them on the Westalee by Me Facebook page. I'd love to see what you come up with. See you next time.